The term technology can be used to describe any number of machines, gadgets, and tools that humans have been employing for centuries. For the purposes of this project, I'll use the term in reference to Merriam-Webster's definition of high technology, scientific technology involving the production or use of advanced or sophisticated devices, especially in the fields of electronics and computers. I believe that as technology users, our generation, that of those born in the 60s and 70s, is unique. We have had the distinctive experience of growing up with relatively limited access to technology, only to see incredible innovations such as the home computer, the internet, and remote devices explode into our personal and professional lives with unbelievable impact. Older generations may have been similarly touched by technology, but for many they were past the point of having to embrace new technologies in a professional setting. Younger people have been brought up surrounded by technology, the high-tech boom already in full swing during their childhood. Perhaps this is why I feel I could talk for hours on end about the impact that technology has had on my life, on both professional and personal levels. I would go so far as to call the technological advances I've experienced in the last 20 years or so life-altering. I first recall using a computer in 1985 in my grade 11 computer science class. We used Commodore PETs to input code in BASIC. I remember spending hours writing programs that would allow the computer to successfully add 2 numbers or to generate simple phrases. I would marvel at how the impressive room-sized computer on the television show The $6 Million Man could generate lists of data as if by magic. Of course, such computers were but things of fiction in those days. Outside of computer science class, I did not use computers in high school, although I had friends who used them, mostly for gaming at that time. Even in university, I shied away from using the word processors for projects, preferring the convenience of writing by hand to the hassle of having to book time in and relocate to the computer lab. It wasn't until computers were introduced to the Moose Jaw Public School Division that I began to appreciate their worth. In the mid to late 90s, I was working as a teacher librarian. The library was automated, and I embraced the efficiency afforded by this high-tech environment. It was also one of the first internet locations in the school, and I discovered the joys of dial-up internet as I learned to use email and online searches on Yahoo. Shortly thereafter, computers made their way into the classroom, and our school set up a computer lab. Teacher librarians became members of the IT teams in schools. I jumped on board a grassroots initiative named Project Lighthouse and built my very first website, highlighting websites my middle year students were creating as a final product for their social studies projects. I spent many late nights poring over the front page program, ensuring that the labels I was generating online were just the right shape and color, that the spinning icons I designed were in exactly the right position. As I learned the program, I felt better equipped to support my students in their online work. We were all proud of what we did. I think that this project was my first experience with technology as a powerful classroom tool. Every student was engaged and eager to share their work in this new and interesting way. They were hooked, which meant that I was hooked. Since then, I have always been open to new ways to learn with and through technology, and have been enthusiastic to share my learning with students. One of the biggest changes I have had to embrace over the years is the notion that I must not necessarily comprehend the technology before using it with the students. Technology is moving far too swiftly for that. I have had to come to terms with the humbling notion that I am no longer the expert. In fact, in my high school technology class, the students often become the teachers. Not only are they far more knowledgeable than I could ever hope to be, but the very way in which they learn is different. Many youngsters have an aptitude for learning that few in my generation possess. The first computer I purchased was my husband's and my desktop Dell. We are only on our second home computer, an HP laptop, which we purchased only last year, but I have gone through many desktops and laptops at work. At present, I use a desktop in the classroom and have 2 laptops, an iPad 2, and a BlackBerry to support my work with the school division. At home and at work, I use technology to seek and share information, to communicate, and to stay organized. On a personal level, I also use it for entertainment. I habitually surf the net to investigate information such as history, recipes, current events, maps, and weather. I also use it to access the curriculum and to search for information and resources to share with students and teachers. I think it is fair to say that for me, the internet has all but replaced nonfiction print in many instances. I use the computer both personally and professionally to create and file numerous products, such as Word documents, concept maps, collaborative writing, posters, pamphlets, spreadsheets, drawings, photographs, videos, audio recordings, and slideshows. I connect with family and friends through Facebook, Skype, blog sites such as Traveler's Point, and email. I have received and sent e-cards, but I feel the real thing is a little more meaningful. I immigrated to Canada as a child, and many of my family members are still overseas. If not for the internet, I doubt that I would be in contact with as many of them as I am. I am new to Twitter, but follow several people already, mostly for work purposes. I have used Skype and routinely use email with my students as well. For fun, I regularly access television sites, radio stations, blog sites, Netflix, iTunes, YouTube, puzzle websites, podcasts, and magazine applications, to name but a few. Now that I have an iPad, I use it to do most of my surfing for informational and entertainment purposes. I do most of my banking and account payments on the net, and am thankful for the convenience of managing my finances when and where I wish. I remember my first cell phone, which I used sparingly for the odd phone call. Today my BlackBerry is constantly firing off and receiving calls, phone messages, texts, BBM messages, and email, as well as storing notes, contacts, and my synchronized Outlook calendar, the organizational lifeline without which I would be lost. I am an admitted online consumer. At home I buy gifts, Kindle books, iTunes music, game applications, movies and television shows, and book hotels, car rentals, and flights online. I frequently access WestJet, Air Canada, Expedia, Air Miles, and vacation sites such as RedTag or Sell-Off to purchase or price out travel arrangements. At work, I purchase print materials and programs through various websites. I am ashamed to admit that I do not often access our public library. The region offers an efficient online service, however, through which I have helped students to reserve resources in the past. I am addicted to Amazon Kindle. I find the book selection extensive and the prices reasonable, and I love the ease with which one can preview or purchase a book through Amazon.com. I typically read fiction ebooks for entertainment, but prefer to do so on my iPad or Kindle than on a computer. I tend to do most of my reading for pleasure outside, in bed, or while traveling, so I find smaller devices more manageable. As I write now, I find astonishing the innumerable ways in which I use technology. I had not realized the extent to which it has become an integral and fundamental part of my life. It also occurs to me, as I reflect on my own evolution as a technology user, that much has changed physically and in terms of infrastructure and expectations with respect to how we as society do so many of the things that we do every day. Our desire for convenience continues to be fulfilled by the ease that comes with technological advances. Instead of making a trip to the bookshop or department store, one may simply one-click his way to purchases that will be delivered to his home. Rather than visiting a travel agent, one may access every single possible combination of flights and hotels, select a trip, pay for it, print it off, and check in online, all from the comfort of one's family room recliner. And one can easily access and manage his monetary funds without setting foot inside a bank. Our world has become smaller, affording us access to people and places in a way that I, for one, never dreamed possible. My students can have a face-to-face conversation with a favorite author or access news clips from all over the world. I can chat over coffee with my sister in Edinburgh or my cousin in Dubai. And I can take part in an award-winning graduate program far away without having to leave work or my husband. When I think back to that seemingly magical computer on the $6 million man and look at what a tiny microchip can do today, I am in awe of how far technology has come in my lifetime alone.